Hi, Susan.
Hi, Lynn Rosen.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. Yeah.
We have some more serious things to talk about today. I guess with the state of the country being as it is, the state of the world really, a lot of people have been asking for resources that are anti-racist. And one thing about that that really comforts me is this idea that when people are troubled, they turn to books as resources. So at least there's a little silver lining there.
Yeah. And I think, of course, there's other ways to participate and be supportive, to protest, but I think, two white women sitting here talking about race,
Right.
I think in a large part, our job is to listen.
Yeah.
And how we listen as readers and writers is
Yeah.
we read. And there is a wealth of things out there to read and share and to spark conversation
Right.
about race in this country.
So we read and we learn and we listen and we think, and then hopefully we share and talk to others.
Yeah.
That would be
Well,
great.
wasn't there the study a while ago that, that reading novels or reading in general
Yes.
creates empathy in people?
Yes.
It's a really great way to build that.
Right.
And of course,
So,
as writers, we're always trying to, bring that human experience to the page, that universal quality that people can relate to.
right. So given our orientation, maybe that's what we can bring to this. And I, as a bookseller, can help to make books available. I know that a lot of my fellow indie booksellers are posting lists and putting them out there and
Mhm.
doing everything they can to help people have more access to books that will help them figure out what's going on and how we move forward, hopefully in a positive way.
Yeah, and it was interesting. We were talking about, you and I were talking about the Pulitzer Prizes a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Time is very strange at this point in the country. But I was like, well, here's like a wealth of great Black writers represented in the Pulitzer Prizes this year. One of them we talked about, Colson Whitehead with The
Yes.
Nickel Boys,
Yes.
which I highly recommend. Is really, really
So
well.
he's a great writer to recommend. Yep.
And his Underground Railroad, of course,
Yes.
which would be a fantastic read. Jericho Brown won for poetry.
Yes.
His book entitled The Tradition, I think.
Okay.
And then in the New York Times, Nicole Hannah Jones, that 1619 project,
Yes.
which was great, really, really great. And if you haven't unsubscribed from the New York Times, I highly recommend going back and reading her work. And that's just a few. There are more. So
Yeah.
good
Are there,
places to
I
start.
was sort of looking on my bookshelves to see what I had available here. Certainly a lot of more classic works. I pulled out a Toni Morrison book
Fabulous.
and a Langston Hughes collection
Hmm.
and Zora Neale Hurston.
I
So,
love that
I
book.
mean, just to start, yeah, in this book.
I
Right.
know.
So it's a good time. Are there other things that other resources you have seen or that you recommend?
Well, I've been seeing a lot in the Twitterverse, Kendi's book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, which
Yes.
I just started reading. I had to get an electronic version because it
It's
is sold
really,
out.
it's sold out. Yes.
Physical copies are sold out, which is
Yeah.
great. And what I find really interesting about that is, you can think of yourself, I'm not a racist, I'm not a racist, you can clearly define who is a racist. But this idea of being an anti-racist, it's so much more active.
Right.
It's so much more putting yourself out there and not being silent. And I think it's a really great way to reframe how we go forward in talking about race in the country. That it's not enough to say I'm not a racist. It's really about being anti-racist. So I'm looking forward to reading the book. I enjoyed the intro chapter very much.
Yeah.
Another book I'm hearing about is White Fragility. I don't
Right.
remember the author's name offhand.
Her name is, I have a list here. I haven't read that yet, and a lot of people have spoken really highly about that. Um, Her name is Robin DiAngelo.
Robin DiAngelo.
White
Yeah.
fragility, why it's so hard for white people to talk about racism. So as you're saying, this idea that you can't be passive, you can't stand on the sidelines. So shifting it into so anti-racism makes it more active.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would highly recommend reading that. Yeah.
Okay.
There's
Well,
just so much out there that we can learn from. It's a.
It is. And then we have to find ways to talk to people about this and to participate.
Yeah. And I've been having a lot of conversations. So, you know,
Good.
I think it's, you know, I live in Center City, Philadelphia, and there are helicopters above me now. I don't know whether you can hear them. And
Cannot. Somebody in my neighborhood is cutting down a tree. I can't hear anything but that.
not as alarming, but yeah, so there's been a lot of helicopters and sirens and explosions, and I understand it can be scary and frightening because,
Yes.
you know, just even the sounds of it. But I really think that I think something's going to happen good in this country.
We're
We
at
have
some kind of turning
all 50 states protesting, and people around the world. I think that we're really going to move forward. I think a lot of good is going to come out of this. I really hope so.
Okay. All right, good. Any other contemporary writers that you like in this context? I have a couple here I can show you.
Yeah.
This is Britt Bennett's first novel.
Oh, I read that. That was good.
Yeah, so she has a brand new novel out, which I don't have. And it's about two teenagers who were born in the South in the 1950s. And it's called The Vanishing Half. And they're light-skinned, and so they're passing, or at least one of them is. So it's about what happens
different
to them
lives,
trying to go out into the world and whether they own up to their heritage or not, which reminded me of this classic book, Passing by Nella Larson, which I read in my feminist college days. Look, it cost.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
And this was originally published in 1929.
Oh, wow.
About two friends who are light-skinned and one of whom tries to pass as white, and what happens, the consequences of that. And this is a book that I think has been rediscovered by feminist readers, contemporary readers. So
Great.
That's another thing to look at.
I was just thinking of An American Marriage.
Yeah, which is about
Tahira Jones. Is that
Tahari Jones? Her name, right? Which is about the incarceration of Black men.
Right. So her husband gets arrested and incarcerated, and
right, unjustly,
at the beginning of their marriage, and what that does. Yeah.
Although that book is more about their relationship than it is about the political issue. I personally would have liked it to dwell more on what happens to him when he's in jail, and they sort of gloss over that.
Yeah.
But I might be in the minority in that opinion.
I think it does capture in the beginning, like, how that can happen, though.
Yeah, and it's stunning and frightening and terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, which brings us back to the present, which brings us back to how that can happen to somebody in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for talking to me about this.
Well, thank you. I like I said, I hope that a lot of good comes out of this. And there is so much good to read.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to go back to reading How to Be an Anti-Racist.
Okay. Can't wait to get my copy. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.